Mood changes, anxiety, and substance abuse. These are some warning signs displayed by those who died by suicide in the week leading up to their death. In a first for Singapore, the Institute of Mental Health used interviews from a deceased person's next of kin and care providers on top of coroner's reports for a study. Charlotte Lim with more.
Ideal is now at a much better place. He has been on medication and therapy sessions since 2018 after attempting to take his own life multiple times. He had been diagnosed with depression and anxiety disorders.
It was a series of not being able to do my normal daily activities. For example, showering, all the basic daily activities per se. Even eating is something that I used to enjoy, but during that period I lost appetite. I didn't have the mood to go out, even to get up for just to go out of my room. It was a chore to me.
The list of warning signs in the latest IMH study is based on a framework by the American Association of Suicidology. On average, 4 emerged from one person in the week before suicide. The 10 signs identified include suicidal ideation, substance abuse, purposelessness, anxiety, feeling trapped. The others are hopelessness, withdrawal, anger, recklessness, and mood changes. 314 suicides were reported in Singapore last year, based on provisional data by the Samaritans of Singapore. The organisation says it has been receiving more calls for help from those at risk and adds that lives can be saved if people can spot the warning signs early.
The important question for us, though, I think, is to ask whether we are truly equipped with the knowledge and skill to identify these signs. Okay, this is not a topic that we often prioritize in our learning. And without this knowledge or skill, we may not even be able to detect them and make it easy for the warning sign to just slip through the cracks.
IMH adds that differentiating these signs from more common and less threatening ones is also another challenge.
They may be attributing it to just stress, and they may not be able to link it up to, okay, this is, quite a challenging situation now and we should seek help of some sort. But that is not happening all the time, and so help seeking gets delayed. And the other part that people also talked about is that sadly no one teaches anyone how to talk about suicides.
Suicides are multifaceted and could be caused by multiple factors. Significantly more individuals who died by suicide in the study have lower educational qualification and were unemployed in the year before their death. Lifestyle factors play a part too. Most cases engaged in behaviours such as smoking and drinking.
Associate Professor Maithili Subramaniam joins us now for more. She's also the principal investigator in the IMH study. Dr. Maithili, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. Now, first of all, this is Singapore's first study using the psychological autopsy method. Can you tell us why this is different from other methods?
Typically, the way that we do studies on suicides is, as was reported by SOS, it's just a number kind of a count, seeing where do these people fall. Are there more men, women, different ethnic groups? So that kind of a quantitative account is done in many countries and in Singapore as well. The other part of it is you could look at, let us say, for example, just the death certificates of people and just get an idea from there, what did they die due to, what had kind of been happening, a little bit about it. But in psychological autopsy, we actually talk to loved ones of people who have died by suicide. And then we have a very detailed interview with them, which lasts for anywhere between 1.5 hours to even 3 hours, depending upon, how much they want to talk, and they may want to take breaks as well. And we talk to them about the person, and we talk in detail about what was going on in their life before they passed away. In this particular study, we also had controls. These were people from the general population who were matched then to these cases, and we also interviewed them. So a pretty extensive study, and suicide is a tough topic to talk about, especially for someone who has lost someone. So yes, it was a fairly challenging study and the first for Singapore.
But it's yielded a lot of insights and results that we can possibly use for future prevention as well.
Exactly.
In this case, you found about 4 warning signs in the week before a suicide. So how might that look like at home, at work, or even in school for our viewers who are trying to identify these signs early?
First of all, I would like to clarify that it wasn't 4 signs. So it is a series of signs which has a mnemonic, which is path warm. And, you know, as it was shown in the small clip that you had kind of shown before that, it includes things like suicidal ideation, withdrawal, mood changes. And so there are these symptoms which kind of form the mnemonic. What we found was that someone who had died by suicide had in fact shown on an average, at least 4 of these fairly severe symptoms. Not that these symptoms are completely absent in people who have not died by suicide. For example, it is possible that you're feeling upset about something and you may show mood changes. But the contrast was quite startling. In a person from the general population, they showed less than 1 sign, 0.8 on an average. Whereas here it was as high as 4 signs per person on an average. And so again, it is about looking at it as a severity. So it's on a spectrum. If they start having too many symptoms, and especially, you know, if they start withdrawing from all the things they used to enjoy and like before, then we should be paying a lot more attention to such a person.
And in this case, when we start seeing loved ones or people around us start to exhibit more than 2 or 3 factors, in this case, right, symptoms and signs, how can we begin to have a safe conversation with them? What are some words that we can use that could very tactfully and sensitively invite them to open up, perhaps?
I think this is a difficult conversation, right? As you rightly pointed out, it's not something we do often or we are trained to do that. But I think just by starting by saying, you know, I have been noticing that you are behaving, you're a bit different from what you were before me. I understand what is going on with your life. Something as simple as that, something which is not very challenging, or to say, look, I'm here. Do you want to talk about something? And if the person does bring up the fact that, you know, I've been having some thoughts that life would be better off if I was no longer part of it, if I just could die. I think the most important thing is we do not react with shock and horror, or we don't dismiss it. And we have heard of, both the things happening from people even who have had suicidal attempts and talked to us in other studies. And it is possible that a parent dismisses it, not because they don't care, but because they care so much and they are not ready to face with it. They may be worried about long-term implications, stigma, and sometimes they feel, oh, it's just a passing phase, let's just dismiss it. Or you could be really shocked, you don't know what to do. And you may panic and you may say, I think you should immediately go and get admitted. I think both of them are not the right reaction. So just staying calm and saying, how can I help you? Do you want to go to a doctor? I can come with you. And you don't even have to always go to a doctor. You can go to a psychologist. You can go to a GP, for example, and have these conversations.
And sometimes just staying open and listening can really do wonders for someone's, emotional state. Now, I want to ask also, are there some don'ts, things that we should avoid? Things that might actually be quite triggering to someone who is already contemplating suicide?
I think people have said that, again, I'm talking about people who have survived an attempt. They have talked about the fact that sometimes people do say, you know what, you're going through all this, but I have had it worse. So, it's about, again, taking the thing to themselves and kind of saying, you're not that badly off. But it's never right. We can never really put ourselves in another person's shoes and understand what they are going through. The other thing that they do talk about is you will get over it. People do tend to get over these things. These are passing phases. I agree, they are passing phases. In fact, if you can support a person when he's going through such a challenging and traumatizing time, I'm sure that on the other side, there's a much better life. But it is important that we don't brush it aside, but we are there to hold that space for them at that time.
Right, it's really a whole of community effort, just staying open, listening, and just being there for someone. It can really do wonders in that sense.
Absolutely.
Dr. Maithili, thank you so much for being here with us in the studio today and for sharing your research with us. I've been speaking with Associate Professor Maithili Subramaniam from IMH.